Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a little dive into r/am I overreacting? I feel like I've not done an am I overreacting in ages and I was craving it. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to with me, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please, thank you. Again, I am recording at night, so I may sound a little quieter or a little less enthusiastic than usual. Again, I am fine. It's just at the moment I'm trying to crunch and record as many in like bulk as I can because I know that I am not going to have time to be recording and editing and then all the other day-to-day life stuff that I have to do every day over the next few weeks. So yeah, I do apologize about that. But anyway, quick little disclaimer, any opinions that I give on the post we read are just opinions, they are not facts, do not need to be taken as such. If you have a different opinion, that is perfectly fine. Do feel free to leave it in the comments below. Just make sure you're keeping it respectful. There's no need to be mean to anyone just because you do not agree. With that being said, let's get into it then, shall we? So this first one was posted to the subreddit by Troll22 and they say, am I overreacting? Someone left their laundry in the dryer and I waited 30 minutes before moving it. Received a note in return. Oh god. So Troll22 says, I went to put my laundry in the washer and saw someone had used both dryers. There's only two. I saw it had only 30 minutes left on it, so I was like, okay, cool. My wash will take 36 minutes, they should be done. My washer was done and I went to get the clothes and theirs was still in the dryer. I waited 30 minutes before moving one of the dryers into a laundry basket that was in the room. The table had dust all over it, so I didn't put it there. I came down after my dryer was done to find this note. I emailed property management as I'm not going to go back and forth with notes with someone who clearly doesn't understand shared laundry room etiquette. I just want to make sure I was in the right here or if I shouldn't have moved their laundry. Now, at the end of the day, I honestly think if you are sharing laundry facilities, then, you know, you've got two options. You stay with your stuff till it's done and take it straight out, or you make sure that you come down just before it's about to be done and take it out, or you're going to have to just put up with the fact that someone might move your clothes out of the dryer. Like, it's tough. Like, because you can't just hog it for however long you want. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't want people touching your clothes. I wouldn't want people touching my clothes. So if I was in a shared facility like that, if I was using a shared facility like that, I would make sure my ass was down there to take it out. Like, I get not wanting people to touch your clothes. But yeah, anyway, let's read the note. So this disgruntled neighbour says, do not touch other people's clothes, especially not after they're freshly washed, regardless of how long they've been in there. Like, what do you think I've got on my fingers, love? Loads of laundry consist of undergarments, and I'm sure you wouldn't want strangers messing with yours. No thank you. From, I don't know, shit neighbour who can't be bothered to actually, like I say, learn the laundry room etiquette. See, I get not wanting people to touch your undercrackers, so don't leave your undercrackers unattended. Make sure you're down there in time to take them out. Otherwise, it's tough. So then this is the email that the OP had then sent to the property management. Laundry issue. Good evening, property manager. We were doing laundry today and there were no dryers available. However, both the dryers were finished. We waited 30 minutes before taking their laundry and putting it inside a laundry basket as we needed our clothes dried. When we came back down for our laundry, we found this note. Is there a possibility you could talk with these residents about being respectful of the shared laundry space? Thank you. I think that is absolutely fair enough. And honestly, though, as a Brit, it's wild to me that you can live in like apartments, which is basically the same as what we'd call flats here, I suppose, and not have your own washer and dryer in your own like apartment. That's crazy. Like, I'd have to have one inside. Ours go in the kitchen, typically. Like, I know, like, in, like, more, like, European countries, they do it in sort of, like, the bathroom, I think. I've seen a lot of them. But yeah, it's wild to me that you wouldn't have your own. That's crazy. I would hate that so much, not having my own and having to just like hope that one was free when I wanted to do my laundry. So, Spite Flimsy 1123 says, they should be watching their laundry. When I use shared space, I wasn't upset if someone moved mine if I left it too long. Exactly. And then Quiche Queef. Oh, do you know what? It's just made me really laugh because my one cat. have you ever seen have you ever seen that video of that guy? It's an Italian guy and his missus is American and she's trying to teach him what the word queef means. And she's saying, queef, and he says, huh? Esqueefies? It really made me laugh. And for some reason now, one of my cats is nicknamed as Squeefies. Oh my goodness, honestly. My brain is so childish, I swear to God. Anyway, Quiche Queef says, not only was I never upset, I actually felt bad that they had to do that because nobody wants to touch your laundry. The nerve of some people is hilarious. Exactly. Like, I am just as put off and, uncomfortable having to move your pantaloons out of the dryer as you are that I have had to move them, my love. By any other name then says, once I completely forgot mine, ADHD, and when I finally remembered, some angel had neatly folded all my clothing. Aw, a little weird, but I was going through a rough patch and it helped me. Yeah, a little strange, but you know what? Their heart was in the right place, I hope. I suppose they couldn't have been sniffing the undergarments because they've just been washed. So, if that makes you feel any better. Shut up, Void. What is wrong with you? So, externally says, am I overreacting by how I responded to my boyfriend's roommate's girlfriend? Me and my brain hurt that one did, just for a minute there. I apologise in advance. This, unfortunately, is not going to be short nor simple. And then they give a TLDR, but we're not going to read that because that ruins it. What do I want to read that for? I want the meat and potatoes, mate, not the short version, I'm going to refer to the characters in this story as J, my boyfriend, S, boyfriend's roommate, A, roommate's significant other, and B, other roommate. S and A started dating around 6 months ago. A has slowly integrated their stuff into S's room and has essentially been living in the shared space rent-free. Some of them like to do that, don't they? We call those hobosexuals, my dear. Amongst that, there has been a plethora of issues with this arrangement. Please see the following. Takes up the entire freezer and a good majority of the refrigerator. Most of the food goes to waste and has to be thrown out. Will not clean dishes that they leave in the sink. Steals Jay's parking spot, forces him to park on the curb to the side. S usually takes them to work while Jay uses his car frequently. So A's car is sitting for long periods of time. Doesn't contribute to cleaning, utilities, internet bill, etc. Adopted a pet after moving in, yet they don't pay pet rent. Another roommate has a pet that they paid a pet deposit on. This is all incredibly frustrating for my boyfriend, but after the past few days, everyone in the house is livid. Everyone, except A, works either swing shift or night shift, so we all tend to like to play games once everyone gets off of their shift. Residents and friends included. This has never been a problem until she texts me one night, "Y'all are so loud." I mean, pay rent and then you can complain, my dear. I don't really know how to respond, so I just say, bad. Later this night, they walk past everyone and don't even bother to say hello. S pops out and gently asks if we can quiet down because A specifically was complaining about being unable to sleep. Go home, eh? Problem solved. J and B mentions how this has been their habit for some years now and how everyone residing in the house is a night owl. S seems understanding and even plays some games with us. Cue the next night. They text me yet again, the message pictured, to which and we will read that in a minute, to which I honestly don't respond for a bit. I make J, B, and friends aware, to which some of them were asking if they should go home. B then tells us how A found his social media and messaged him saying, "Can you guys fuck quiet down?" He then responded telling A that this is his place. S pops out later, and that's when J, B, and another one of our friends collectively laid their feelings out. Basically, everything I listed above. J also mentioned how A kept putting me in the middle of this by texting me and informed him of the text A sent B, plain cursing at him. S had no clue that she sent those texts to either of us and seemed quite appalled. Overall, S was quite receptive and ultimately joined us for some more games. S, mate, why don't you just bin her off at this point? She sounds like a pain in the bum. Like, I would get it if she paid rent to live there, chipped in with the bills, didn't just make a complete pain in the ass of herself, despite living there for free, then you can complain and I would totally understand, but this is not your place. No one else has a problem with it, only the freeloader. So we know who needs to go. Here's the part where I'm wondering, am I overreacting? This technically isn't my ballpark because I'm simply a significant other of one of the actual roommates. However, I felt they constantly involved me by texting me twice, and I just wanted to drop my honest thoughts. Am I overreacting? So let's read the message and then we can give our thoughts, can't we? So, the freeloader messages saying, "Can y'all be quiet until at least 5:15? It's been so hard to sleep this entire week with how loud y'all are." And then the OP replies, "I mean this with all due respect, but I feel that people actively paying rent here should get the final say. You've gotten the benefits of a good majority of the fridge, free rent, and boyfriend's parking spot has been uninhabitable despite you and boyfriend usually riding together. I've been around for over a year and this has been their habit, and we should respect that as guests in the house." Exactly. And you could say, oh, obviously OP doesn't really have a horse in this race because they don't live there either, but the difference is, one, A is including OP in this by messaging them, and two, OP is not staking any claims to the house. OP is not taking over the place. OP knows they don't live there and don't get the final say. But the boyfriend, S, and the other roommate are all fine with everything. The only person who's got a problem is the person who's moved themselves in and is not paying any rent. So yeah, I would tell her to sling her hook if I was S, because if she's like this now, oh my goodness. He has got a tough life ahead if he decides to stay with her. So, down in the comments, No Albatross 7984 says, "It's been so hard to sleep. Then go home, bish." There, I drafted a response for you. You're welcome. And then Exact Molasses 6673 says, "See, now you're classy." I'd have responded with, "His other girlfriend is much more respectful than you." Ooh, you naughty little thing, you, shit stirring. But also, could be quite funny, I'm not gonna lie. So, next post posted by Outrageous Block 776. Am I overreacting? Boyfriend texting co-worker. I, 28F, was using my boyfriend's 27M to laptop, I'm assuming it's meant to say, the other day and saw these messages from an unsaved number. I asked him about it and he said that it was his female co-worker texting him because she left her laptop after hours and he was the only one in the building. By the way, he is usually not the only one. There are typically 2 other co-workers there with him. I freaked out because to me these messages are really flirty texts and seems like the texts are about more than just a laptop. He says there is nothing going on and that it was just a joke, but I'm not sure that I believe him. Am I overreacting? Okay, let's have a look, shall we? So, co-worker's in grey, boyfriend is in blue. "My laptop can spend some quality time with you," little silly face. Sounds like a date to me. And then some emojis that I can't actually see because apparently my glasses ain't working today. So then the co-worker sends a winky face. And then boyfriend says, movie nights, cuddles, couple smooches. Come on, can't get better. And then the co-worker says, that's exactly what she wants with you. And OP just sends back like a gif that's like, yes, for those who listen and are not looking at the screen. Yeah, do you know, actually, I can see it from both angles. I personally, from my own personal point of view, would be like, you're probably overreacting because it does just seem like a bit of a joke at the fact that the laptop's staying overnight with the boyfriend, and it's like, oh, you know, you're having a little date with my laptop, you know, a joke. It reads to me as a joke. However, I can get how it might be a little bit of a inappropriate joke to someone who maybe has a relationship, or how you could maybe read that, and maybe if you weren't reading it with a more open mind that day, it could come across as maybe a little bit too familiar, a bit too flirty, but they're talking about a laptop at the end of the day. If there's no other messages that have ever been flirty or anything, I would honestly just think it was just a bit of a shy joke, to be honest. So, down in the comments, it was absolutely just a free-for-all in the comments. It was just all the jokes. There were so many jokes, like techie jokes and innuendos, and not innuendos, or would it be an innuendo? I don't know. By the way, don't you think it's funny that innuendo is kind of like a bit of an innuendo in itself, the word? Like if you hear it through your ears. Do you know what I mean? Through your ears. How else? Shut up, Void. Fuck. Yeah, so there was lots of just daft jokes and puns about computers. So yeah, I'll read you one of them. 94 Arroyo, yes. OP, please get tested for HDMI as soon as possible. There was so many of those. I'm not going to read them all. You can go and I'll obviously link this post and you can go and find it from there and have a scroll through at your own leisure. So a more serious one, Little Miss Moxie says, I'm sure if you were texting this to a guy, your boyfriend would be okay with it, right? Not overreacting. And then FewTrack8525 says, it's about a laptop. About going on a date with her laptop. Exactly. So, see, this is what I've been seeing with the more serious side of the comments. It's like some people are like, no, I wouldn't be okay with it. And then other people are like, it's literally a joke about a laptop. They're not actually like joking about getting together themselves. They're joking that he's having a date with a laptop. It isn't that serious. So yeah, it's a very divided opinion on that one, I think. I think I can see it from both sides if maybe the OP is someone who is a bit sort of insecure, I suppose. And I know that wording alone has an ugly connotation to it when you say someone's insecure, but you know, you can be insecure and not be an asshole. Like, sometimes insecurity can come from many different places. It doesn't automatically mean that you're an asshole or whatever, because I think a lot of people hear insecure when it comes to relationships and think, oh, someone who's just a bit controlling and an asshole. And I don't think it always means that, but yeah, I do think OP needs to maybe just chill a little. I do think it was just a joke. Shit joke, but a joke. Okay then, so last post for the day. Unable Sweet 3062 says, am I overreacting that my son needs to pay us back? Probably not, but we'll get into it. I, 54F, and my husband, 49M, have 2 adult children. Our son, almost 21M, ended up in a bit of a situation a couple weeks ago. My son texted me asking if I could help get him and his 20F girlfriend to and from work for a couple weeks. When I asked why, he let me know his car had been repoed and that he could get it back to me, but had 10 days to come up with the 1900 to do so. He did not want me to tell his dad, my husband. My son also asked if we could maybe help him with some of those funds because they weren't willing to give him an extra 4 days beyond that for him to land on a payday. We agreed and said that he would have to pay back whatever he borrowed. Now, I'm not being funny, but keeping secrets from your husband like that is never a good idea, especially when it comes to finances, that are being divvied out to adult children, because it never ends ends well. Like marriage-wise, for the parents, when one's doing something and not consulting the other one, it does not end well. It always ends up with somebody feeling like they've had their notes put out of place. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, not a good idea. As I help get them back and forth to work, I ask some questions like why he hasn't gotten his second car repaired, or why he didn't ask for help with a car payment before all of this snowballed. The answer to both was a super honest one. We've just been irresponsible with money lately. Well, I'm at least glad that he recognizes that that's what it is. I appreciate the honesty, but I let him know that this would have been much cheaper all around had he just asked for help with the car payment. Yeah, exactly. He works 2 jobs and makes good money at his full-time job, so this shouldn't be an issue at all. As this 10 days went on, I noticed his girlfriend was carrying a brand new, almost $400 Coach purse. Her birthday was just before all of this happened. I said absolutely nothing about it. However, when I picked her up from work, one of the last days before he got his car back, she casually mentioned she's looking for better paying jobs for him and that she wants a dog. And when she gets the dog, she's going to drop from full time to maybe 5 hours a day, 2 to 3 days a week, so she can stay with the dog. I still said nothing. Maybe it's less that the OP's son directly has been the one who's been irresponsible with the money. Like, obviously it is his fault if he's going and buying his girlfriend loads of really expensive stuff, obviously. But is the driving force behind all of this irresponsibility the girlfriend demanding all this stuff? That's crazy as well, when you're literally having to get lifts back and to from work from your boyfriend's mum because you've both let your car payment go over, to then be saying to the person that you're asking for help of financially, oh yeah, we're going to get a dog soon and I'm going to drop my work hours. That's not the right time to start saying stuff like that, honestly. Today, my son was to pay back half of what he borrowed from us to get his car back. We didn't loan him the full amount. He did pay for the bulk of it, and we don't technically need the money back. He did send the payment. I let my husband know, and he said, oh, so the husband did know. I thought that the husband didn't know. Okay, fair enough. That's cool then. That's good. I let my husband know, and he said that our son doesn't need to pay the rest back and to give him back half of what he pays tomorrow. No, because he needs to know that if he's been irresponsible with his money, he needs to then start being responsible with the money. And just like giving him half of that money back is not really backing any of that up, is it? It's not backing up that idea that he needs to be more careful with his money, because then he's just going to think, oh, well, dad'll just give me money whenever. Do you know what I mean? I said no, that this is a lesson in swallowing his pride, and it would have cost far less had he asked before this was an issue, let alone the inconvenience to me, and that the only way this lesson will really stick is to make him pay this back whether we need it or not. Exactly, if it was one of my kids, I would do the same. My husband pushed back and said we don't really need it, and he doesn't want him hurting financially over it. We're being extremely flexible with it being paid back. At this point, I let my husband know about the handbag and her work plan and said it's beyond irresponsible when she's rocking a brand new, higher-end handbag and is trying to drop down to part-time. I said by not making him pay us back, we are effectively letting her decide that it's not only our son's job to support her financially, but ours as well. Exactly. And I'm unwilling to send that message to either of them. I've dug my heels in. I expect this money back. Am I overreacting about this? Should we make our son pay this back so that the lesson sticks? Abso-friggin-lutely. Definitely. And listen. When I was 21 and I had a job and whatever, was I irresponsible with money sometimes? Oh god, yeah. Oh my goodness. And I had to learn that lesson the hard way when I then had debt. And I was like, now I've got to pay this back. How am I going to do that? You learn the lesson the hard way most of the time, unfortunately, especially if you've been brought up somewhere where you've not been really taught the value of money. When I was a kid, the rule in my family was you don't talk to kids about money and finances because they shouldn't have to worry about that. And, I understand the sentiment, and I think it's very sweet to want to protect your kids from the worry of money and what things cost. But it left me, when I was then 18 and able to just go get whatever I wanted, credit-wise and stuff, it left me quite vulnerable to then making really shit choices because I had no concept of what money really meant in that kind of way, in like a credit kind of way. I knew what money meant as in like what was in your bank and stuff, but because I'd never been taught about credit and all of that sort of bollocks and how important it was to keep on top of everything, again, with I think good intentions from my parents, I made some absolutely horrendous decisions. Do you know what I mean? And the only way I learnt my lesson was from having to then shoulder the burden of those horrendous decisions. So no, I completely agree with the OP. It's not like the son and the girlfriend should be hurting for money either. It's because they're making irresponsible choices. Like, the son even admitted it himself. Buying a $400 flipping handbag is crazy anyway, in my opinion. But different strokes for different folks. But buying that when you know you've got to make your car payments, and then that's going to mean you'll get your car taken off you, which would then mean you can't go to work, which is going to be a big old downward spiral, it's an irresponsible decision. And I think he's only going to learn the hard way, and he might also learn that maybe he might want to pick a different girlfriend because I don't think she's going to be good for his finances, honestly. Not one bit. So let's have a look what the comments say, shall we? Breezy BBH says, not overreacting. He asked for a loan, not a gift. You bailed him out when he needed help, and now he's paying back what he borrowed. That seems completely reasonable to me. I'd leave the girlfriend out of it though. Whether she's making good decisions or not, the agreement was between you and your son. And then OP says, I forgot to mention specifically, he bought the bag for her birthday. She's been asking for it. I've heard the conversation multiple times for 6 months. Yeah. Bear in mind, they've only been together for 6 months and she's already seen $400 handbags out of him, and to cut her hours down so she can be, a full-time dog mum. Oh my goodness, this doesn't bode well. He initially had told her no because she loses or wrecks all her purses. That purse was the car payment that triggered this whole thing. They both just hoped I wouldn't notice. Yeah, no, definitely. Stand your ground, tell your husband to get a backbone and stop, just rolling over because he doesn't want to upset his son. The best thing that he can do for his son is make him responsible for his decisions. So yeah, no, OP is not overreacting. Anyway, I think that's all we've got time for today. My mouth is mighty dry now. I'm staring at my Diet Coke that's sat over there and it's just calling my name. So I'm going to go and guzzle that like I've been living in a desert for 2 years. But if you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give me a like and subscribe, notifications on, that'll be your initiation into the Coven Void. Welcome. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Don't forget to leave an offering of a comment for Big Al, will you? Bye!